Welcome. This is a quiz review for Chapter 8, quiz number 2. Okay, on tomorrow's quiz, we're going to have questions like this. So we'll look at question number 1. Anything to the 0 power, we learned this last week, is going to be 1. Okay, so that's a quick question. Number 2, now we have a negative power over here. Remember, the negative power means you're going to put it in fraction form. It's in the wrong spot. So let me write it down here. So 1 is going to go on top, 4 on the bottom, and you make it a positive 2, and you square it. And then 4 squared on the bottom is just 1 over 16. Okay? Number 3. Again, we have to follow the rules of the powers. The 7 has a first power on it. It stays there. The a to the negative 5 is not in the right spot, and the b to the 3 is in the right spot. So we're going to rewrite this. The 7 stays up top, and the b to the third stays up top. However, the a to the negative 5 is in the wrong spot, so it goes to a to the negative 5 in the bottom. So that's going to be your answer for that one. Moving on to question 4. We're going to use the rules of the powers. I have a negative in the bottom of the fraction, so it's supposed to be up top. The d squared is positive, so it stays where it is. So this is going to turn into 12c to the 8th divided by d squared. Okay, and that's going to be letter D. Looking at number 5. I have 5 to the negative 2. It's in the wrong spot. So this is going to turn into 20 times 1 over 5 positive 2, 5 to the positive 2. And then this turns into 20 over 25, which reduces to 4/5. Number 6. If you look at number 6, well, we have 5 to the negative 3 power, so that's 1 over 5 cubed, times 7 to the 0 is 1, so it's just times 1. So then that's going to be 5 cubed, which is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 1 over 125, which is letter A. Looking at number 7, well, we can use the rules for 7. Instead of figuring it out right away, you're going to add negative 3, because these are the same base, all right, because these all have the same base, we can take the powers and we can add them together. So what you have is negative 3 plus 10 plus 0, which equals 7. So instead of 12 to the powers that are there, it's going to be 12 to the 7th, which is this here, D. Looking at 8, we have the same situation. Same base, so we add the powers. So we do negative 5 plus 6, which is 1. So that's going to be 7.46 to the first power, which is D. Looking at number 9, it's multiplication. So we have 2 times k to the 8th times 3 times k to the 3rd. We can combine the k's and can combine the 2 and the 3 under multiplication. So we're going to have 2 times 3 and k8 times k to the 3rd. And then we use our rules. We know 2 times 3 is 6. And then this is going to be k to the 8 plus 3. And that's going to equal 6k to the 11th power. Now we're on number 9. I'm sorry, that was number 9. Now we're on number 10. Okay, look for the same bases. So A and A are similar. 3 and 6 are constants, so we can multiply those together. And b to the 9th is just going to be by itself. All the powers are positive, so there's no fraction involved here. So I'm going to combine the a to the 5th plus a to the 1st, or multiply it, and it's going to add the powers to be a to the 6th. Okay, and there's 2 answers with a to the 6th in it, B and A. However, I got to go 6 times 3, which is 18, and b to the 9th stays, so that's going to be A. So again, a to the 5th times a, but that's really to the first power, we don't write it, times 3 times 6 times b to the 9th, and that's going to result in a to the 6th, 18, b9, and they just rewrote it a little bit differently there. Moving on to 11. This one's a little trickier. Remember, we're adding the powers, so there's a 1 there. So this is going to be 6 to the 1 plus t minus 2 plus t. Okay, so we're going to add these up, and this is going to be 6 to the, well, t plus t is 2t, and 1 plus negative 2 is going to be negative 1. Okay, and that's answer C, it looks like. 2t minus 1. Okay, that was a little tricky. So be careful with that. Again, this is 1 plus t minus 2 plus t. And don't get your plus signs messed up with your negative signs on that one. Moving on to 12. This is the rule where it says if it's a power to a power, going to multiply. So this is the rule that said x to the a to the b is equal to x to the a times b. So in this situation, this is just going to be k to the 2 times 4, which is k to the 8th. Okay, if you forget how to do these, like this one here, 12, I can write this out 4 times and just add up how many k's I have here, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's k to the 8th. I could even take it even further and go k, each one's 2 k's, and we're doing that 4 times, and I got 2, 4, 6, 8 k's there. So if you don't remember the rules, at least try it that way. Same thing happens with number 13. I'm going to distribute the 6 in, and I got t to the negative 12. Well, that's really 1 over, because of that negative sign, that makes it 1 over. Remember, I say this is like the negative sign, so make it a fraction and put it on the bottom with a positive power. Moving on to 14. Anything to the 0 power is 1. X to the 7th squared would be, you're going to multiply that, so that's going to be x to the 14th. Okay? Moving on to 15. I have negative h to the 4th power to the 5th power. Bring this 5 in. Okay, now you got to be careful with this one because the 5 also controls the negative sign. So you might be better off just doing negative h to the 4th 5 times. And that's going to be 20h, or h to the 20th. And a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative is going to be negative 28. So be careful with that one. Letter D is the answer. If it was an even power, it would be positive. 16 has a little bit of mixed up with a power and a constant. You're going to take that 3 and it's going to cube the k squared, and it's going to cube the 5. So this is 5 cubed k to the 2 times 3, which is 125. K to the 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, and that's going to be letter A. Number 17 looks very messy. Be careful. This 2 has to go here, here, and here. So this is negative 5 squared. G to the 5 to the 2 is 5 times 2. H to the 6 to the 2 is 6 times 2. Then we're going to multiply it by this one here, but this will get distributed there. So G to the 4 times 4. H to the 2 times 4. Okay, so now we got some multiplication to do here. 5 squared, or negative 5 squared is 25. This is G to the 10th, H to the 12th, G to the 16th, and H to the 8th. Then we're going to combine our G's and our H's, and we're going to get 25. G to the 26th, H to the 20th, which is letter A. Moving on to 18. Several different ways you can do this. You could do the rule that says x to the a over x to the b is x to the a minus b. You can do it that way. In this case, it would be 3 to the 7 minus 5, which is 3 squared. Or you could do it this way, which is 9. Right? You could do 7 3's on top. And I would suggest do it this way if you don't remember the rules. 5 on the bottom, cancel them out, and you're left with 3 times 3, which is 9. 18, doing it the same way. X to the 14 minus 7 is x to the 7th. Or you can write 14 x's on top, 7 on the bottom. Do your cancellation, and you're left with x to the 7th on top. Number 20. X to the 5 minus 9, which is x to the negative 4, which is 1 over x to the 4th. You could do it that way. Or you could say I got 5 x's on top, and I have 9 x's on the bottom. Okay, the 5 on top are going to cancel out, and you're left with 4 on the bottom, which is 1 over x to the 4th. 21, which is not in scientific notation. Okay, scientific notation has to have a number, an x, and a power of 10. A number by itself out front. Even though this doesn't have a decimal, it's still a number by itself. Number by itself, x power 10. Number by itself, x power 10. So this one is wrong. D is wrong. The decimal point should be between the 2 and the 5. Same thing with number 22. We have a number, we have a 0, that's bad. Okay, and this one's okay because there's a number out front. So it has to be a number greater than 1 or less than 10. Okay. Right in scientific notation. Okay, we're going to move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces. So it's 8.67 times 10 to the 9th. You don't count the zeros, you count how many spaces you move it over. The only one that matches that is C. 24, now we're moving this way 2 spaces, 8.05. Because we went backwards, it's going to be the negative 2. Okay, moving on to 25. Write this in as a number. You could do this on your calculator, or you could just write a 9 with 4 zeros after it. Okay, and got your answer. Here it says go the other way negative 2, or the other way 2. So we're going to take our decimal and go 1, 2 this way, and it goes 0.09. You fill the spaces that aren't available with zeros. 0.0907, which is A. 27. Which is the greatest? Okay, well, the greatest is going to have the highest power, which is ordered from least to greatest. The highest power has to be last. So there's a 4 here and a 4 here. That one's eliminated. This one has 3, 4, 4. That could be available. C could be available. 3, 4, 4, and 4, 3, 4. No, that's out. Okay, so it's between B and C. So once it gets to this point, you only have to compare the two. Like 3 is definitely the least for these two. That's okay. So the question is here, which one is the least to the greatest here? Well, this is like, I do this like money. $4.50 is smaller than $5.40. Therefore, this is the answer. It's pretty doable. Complete complete the equation by supplying the missing exponent. Okay, we need a number here that when multiplied to this x, or we need a number here, so when I multiply it to 3 to the negative 6, it equals 3 to the second. So basically, this number here has to be, when I combine it with negative 6, it has to be 2, and that number is 8. Moving on to, did I miss some? 18, 19. Okay, did that. I believe we did this already. Yep. Moving on to here, here. Okay, 29. Evaluate this for x equals negative 3 and y equals 2. Well, okay, so wherever we see an x, I put a parentheses, and I'm going to put in a negative 3. And then I could just do this on my calculator, or I could do this by hand. Let's do it by hand first. So this would be 9, negative 3. Well, let's do exponents first. So this is 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 times. Now 2 to the negative 2 is really, this is really 1 over 2 squared, which is 1/4, which would be 81 over 4. Okay, we could do it that way. Or you could do it this way. You could say 9x squared, and the y squared goes on the bottom. Then put in your numbers. 9 times negative 3 squared over 2 squared, which is still 81 over 4. Simplify each expression for number 30 and 31. This is the same thing as 9 times 7 times 10 to the 7th times 10 to the 9th. Okay, 9 times 7 is 63, times 10 to the 7 plus 9 is 16. However, it's not in scientific notation. You need to put a decimal there. When I do that, move over this way 1, I'm going to go up 1 with my power. So it's going to be 6.3 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, an astronaut measures light years distance. Measures a large distance in light years. 1 light year is the distance that light can travel in 1 year, approximately this many miles. Suppose the star is this many light years away from Earth. Scientific notation, how many miles away is it? So we got to go 13.6 times that big number. Well, let's put that big number in scientific notation. 5.88 times 10 to the 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we can even put the 13.6 in scientific notation. We don't have to, but yeah, let's not do it. I want to confuse you on this one. So what I need to do here is multiply these two numbers together and then put it back in scientific notation. So I'm going to need a calculator for this. So let's do 13.6 times 5.88. I can even multiply that times 10 to the 12th. I get this really big number. Well, how do I interpret that answer? It's going to be 7.9968 to the 13th power times 10 to the 13th power. That's one way to do that. And that probably be the best way for you to do it. The other way would be to multiply, well, do the same, just multiply the first two numbers. 13.6 times 5.88. That gives me 79,968. 79,968. I think that's right. I might have missed a 6 there. Okay, I think I have an extra 6 in this answer. Times 10 to the 12th. Okay, and then to put this in scientific notation, I have to move this over 1, and that's why this turns into a 13 here. Okay. Number 32, I'm going to multiply this times this on my calculator. 8 times 8.8 is 70.4, so 70.4 times 10 to the 12th. The same thing's going to happen with this one. I'm going to move it over 1 this way, move this up 1, so it's 7.04 times 10 to the 13th. So make sure you can do all the questions on this practice quiz. Turn the video off, scroll through, and see if you can do the questions beforehand, and get your answers correctly, and then keep taking the test until you get it right, because this is what the quiz is going to look like tomorrow. Okay, thank you, and God bless you.